Correctional Services Deputy Minister Thabang Makwetla has visited the Goedemoed Correctional Center in the Free State to address officials and offenders. This comes after a female warder was stabbed to death allegedly by an inmate at the center last Friday. The inmate held two female officers hostage in an office while he was performing cleaning duties. The other female warder was allegedly raped and sustained minor injuries after she was stabbed. She's been discharged from hospital. Let us now talk to the Deputy Minister responsible for the Department of Correctional Services, Thabang Makwetla, who now joins us on the line. Deputy Minister, good afternoon and thank you so much for coming through. Now, you visited the Correctional Center today and I believe you've interacted with the officials. What sense did you get from your interactions?
Well, the sense that we got of the situation down in Goedemoed is that the situation is under control. But of course, the workforce is traumatized by what happened, unprovoked, brutal violence unleashed on the female employees who are working at that center. The point about this development is that the heroism of those who are working in the department at times it's overlooked. Most of the time it's overlooked. There is a lot of sacrifice that goes with those who execute duties in these correctional centers. We change many lives. We give many people new beginnings. We rehabilitate hundreds of South Africans, but there are those cases where we do not succeed. In this particular instance, we are talking of someone who was sentenced for who got 2 life sentences, and still, commits, murder inside our correctional center. It is just one of those cases that you just don't know what else must be done to make people see things differently.
And I suppose that Deputy Minister raises questions around the safety and security of warders, more so your female warders having to guard criminals such as this particular guy who was sentenced to 2 life sentences.
Yes, the situation down there, it's almost what obtains in other centers, which is that the staff shortages with which the department has to make do with have reached a very dangerous levels, to the extent that we have even discussed this matter to consider bringing back members of the department who have just gone on retirement recently, and see from that community how many of them can be brought back into service in order to make up quickly for these low levels of our workforce against a growing population of offenders. But the other thing, of course, is that there is a problem we have highlighted in the department across the country towards the end of last year, that the laxity in adhering to procedures by officials when they are executing their duties, it is exacerbating the threat to their own lives. Because in many of these instances, when these violent acts are executed, there's always the question, how did this offender get possession of this item? Mm-hmm. If he had possession of this item, when he was moved from point A to point B and to point C, the procedures of getting him checked and searched, why didn't they pick up that this person was carrying a dangerous weapon? All of those things. I mean, even in this particular instance, some of the circumstances under which or that gave rise to this possibility are very disappointing. Yeah. So we have raised the point that the officials, it is to their own good, but also to the safety of offenders that at all times they must adhere to procedures. If when they are looking out offenders, they must be searched. That must be done, and it must be a thorough search. If the offender comes back from work, it is in a span that is working outside. When they come back, they must be searched thoroughly. There must be serious control. And I know that we are these things are easier said than done because in reality, human beings do unfortunately develop that sense of comfort as the more they become familiar with the things that happen in their daily life. We are talking here about a situation where this community, these officials at this center, they lived with the person for 18 years. When you have lived with a person, seeing him every day for 18 years or more, you do not expect that as humans you develop a certain relationship that also makes lulls your vigilance and make you believe that there is nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
but it is just at that point that the wrong things happen.
Just a quick one on this, DM. Of course, the issue of the shortage of staff at your correctional centres, it's not a new issue. It's been raised over and over by a pop crew. So the question really is, did it really have to get this far in order for the department to act, as you say that the department is now looking into bringing your officers who have gone on retirement?
Every problem that comes about has to be responded to with the appropriate, seriousness that it deserves. And I don't think that it is wrong for the department that in their response to this development, they actually got us to consider bringing back some of the officials that have just recently gone on retirement to give us time to bring into the department those who are coming in as cadets from the training centers. I think it is just a responsible thing to do.
All right, DM will surely bring you into the studio to take the discussion further. That's where we'll leave it for today. The Deputy Minister of the Department of Correctional Services, Thabang Makwetla, on the line with us, talking to us about his visit to the Goedemoed prison in the Free State. We're taking a quick break here on Your Story. There's still so much more to come. Don't go away.